Sancus, and I am chair of the North Linden Area Commission, and I welcome you to today's event. I have the honor and privilege of introducing someone who really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm happy to be able to do it. And he's going to provide us with some very important information this morning about something that's going to occur in my area, in North Linden area. And so with that, without further ado, I want to introduce you to our mayor, my friend, Mayor Andy Ginther.
Thank you, Carol, for all of your continued leadership and service from your days at CODA, connecting folks who might have been left out and left behind to important transit options, and incredible service on the Board of Education and now on the Area Commission. She can't get enough of giving back to Columbus, and so we're grateful for Carol. We're excited to be here today. The future site of the city's first ever real-time crime center. We believe it'll be a worthy addition to one of our city's most diverse and dynamic neighborhoods. Area advocates have been crucial to realizing this innovative community asset right here in Linden, and we're looking forward to seeing this project continue to take shape in the coming months. But more on that in just a moment. Neighbors, we're here today because we want what's best for Columbus, to be a place where we welcome folks of all ages, from all walks of life, where everyone feels safe, protected, and empowered to thrive. Your safety is our top priority, and our comprehensive safety strategy is how we're bringing down the violence while holding more criminals accountable. We're embracing prevention, intervention, and enforcement, a collection of strategies aimed at reaching the same goal: to prevent violence whenever we can, to intervene early on and wherever possible, to keep guns out of the hands of those who should not have them, and apprehending the small number of individuals committing the overwhelming majority of the violence. We're moving with a sense of urgency and purpose to get this done, working in close partnership with members of the community and with law enforcement, and allocating our resources where we can achieve the greatest impact. And that's why the $1.5 billion bond package on the ballot this fall is so important. Issues 14 through 18 represent funding for a wide range of strategic capital investments in neighborhood infrastructure and services. Issue 14 is geared specifically toward community safety, with $300 million in dedicated funding. It encompasses what we need in order to sustain the progress and momentum we've already achieved, while laying the groundwork for what we need to do to keep all of Columbus safe, healthy, and prosperous in the years ahead. And it does so without raising your taxes. Here's how we envision allocating the $300 million. $30 million for the police facility renovations, $33 million for fire facility renovations, $18 million for fire apparatus replacements like ladders, engines, and EMS equipment, some of which we have here today that was purchased with previous bond issue support, and $219 million for the new Franklin County Municipal Court building. The Franklin County Municipal Court has one of the largest dockets in the state, and we continue to work collaboratively with the county to plan for a new facility that will keep the criminal justice system moving as smoothly and as effectively as possible, a critical element of our ability to enforce the law. Again, because we have a proven track record of paying back our bond commitments in full and in a timely fashion, we're able to do all of this without increasing or imposing new taxes of any kind. In fact, voter-approved bonds enable us to borrow money at a lower interest rate, saving our residents millions while allowing the city to invest even more in our neighborhoods. We know that planning and budgeting on such a large scale is only possible with the support of the community. We're grateful for that support, and we do not take it for granted. We have to earn it every day. And that's why we're here today, to report out how we plan to use these resources in the future and to share how we've invested previous bond packages that have been passed by the public. For more on what we've been able to accomplish, including the planning for the Real-Time Crime Center, which will soon occupy the ground we're standing on today, it's my pleasure to introduce our Safety Director, Robert Clark.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I want to thank Mayor Ginther, Safety Chair Remy, Chair Perkins, as well as Chief Bryant and Chief Potts and Chief Happ, and all of the women and men who serve in public safety. Being here today to spotlight the essential work being done by the women and men of public safety. We are here today not only on their behalf, but on behalf of the citizens that we serve in the great city that we reside in. You've probably heard me say before, our public safety professionals are among the most dedicated, determined, and passionate anywhere in the United States. They serve this city with great pride. Without resources, passion and pride will only take you so far. As you've heard from Mayor Ginther, the leadership of this city and this department is committed to providing our employees with the resources they need to keep Columbus safe. One of our most exciting projects on the horizon will stand on this space that we stand on today, our Real-Time Crime Center. But in addition to that will be our public safety campus, which will also include a new sub-police station, which will replace the one that is now at Mock and Parkwood. Again, to give our women and men in the Division of Police a new home from which to work and from which to serve. This Real-Time Crime Center will include criminal intelligence in Columbus, a data hub where analysts will examine and rapidly share information to improve our safety for our residents and for our first responders. The center will integrate information and images sourced throughout hundreds of neighborhood safety cameras, law enforcement databases, and our new body-worn camera and cruiser systems that are in the process of being deployed as we speak. It will provide actionable information to officers responding to incidents and enhance our abilities to manage major incidents as they happen in real time. By investing in proven technology, utilizing data, leveraging community partnerships, this new facility will position us to predict, prevent, and solve crime in the community. This significant step forward is how we keep Columbus safe. We will be made possible through the funding through our public safety bonds and help us deliver major improvements in our public safety infrastructure. In the last 6 years alone, we have invested over $115 million into projects that will directly impact improved safety in our city. Let me just share a few of those investments with you. Money from the 2016 bond package built new fire stations. Station 16 on Oakland Park Avenue replaced a firehouse that was more than 50 years old. Station 35 on Waggoner Rd serves East Columbus, an area of major residential and commercial development. Station 36 will serve residents in northeastern Columbus starting in 2024, which is another area of rapid growth. These new stations will provide better service and shorter response times and provide more safety for our public safety personnel. More than $41 million has put new fire and EMS vehicles, similar to what you see situated behind me, on our streets, serving our residents and keeping them safe. To be specific, 9 ladder trucks, 19 fire engines, and 33 medics and 5 heavy rescue vehicles are deployed on our streets as we speak. Public safety bond money funded our Far North Police Community Substation on Sancus Boulevard and will help build our newest police substation in the Hilltop. It built our new Public Safety Wellness Center that is serving our women and men every single day to make sure that they stay well, healthy, and safe to be able to serve our great city. These are more than just buildings and vehicles. These are more than line item budgets. These are investments in the safety of our city and the safe and well-being of our residents. This will allow us to deliver these services timely, actionably, and on time to be able to allow our residents to feel safe as they work and play in our great city. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you from the Division of Police, Chief Elaine Bryant.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor Ginther, Director Clark. We're excited about this. We're excited about the Real-Time Crime Center because we know what it's going to bring, and we know the value that it's going to have for this city. When you talk about policing and you talk about enforcement, most people think about responding from run to run, but this is going to give us the ability to be able to look at our resources and the ability to work collaboratively with other entities to be able to dedicate the resources necessary to where they should be. And sometimes we're talking about just seconds that can make a difference when you're talking about a crime, seconds that can make a difference when you're talking about somebody's life. So this Real-Time Crime Center is going to give us the ability to be able to look across the city, determine where resources should be, determine what's going on, determine how we should respond, and be able to get those resources to the places that they need to be in real time. So we're excited about that, and we know that this is going to make a huge difference. We're already seeing a reduction in our crime, but we know this is just going to amplify the things that we're trying to do. And like Mayor Ginther talked about, be able to focus on that small group of people that's creating the majority of the violence in our city of Columbus. We're also excited about the renovations or the upgrades for our police services and our police departments, because we have to take care of our officers. And when we invest in them and make sure that we're putting them in an environment that's safe and productive, they too will then increase their response and increase the way that they respond. So we're excited about that as well. So just know that this Real-Time Crime Center is going to make a huge difference in the way that we police, and it's going to make a huge difference for the residents of the city of Columbus. With that, I'm going to bring up Chief Happ.
Thank you, Chief Bryant. Mayor Ginther, Safety Director Clark, Carol Perkins, and Councilmember Remy, thank you so much for being here today and supporting us as you do every single day. We appreciate you. To the residents of Columbus, as Director Clark and the Mayor has pointed out how important this bond issue is for the Columbus Fire Department, the members that support the community in which they serve every single day, this bond package is extremely important. As you see the fire trucks, as I mentioned before, this money is bought to get new aging fire trucks off the roads and new trucks back in here. The city of Columbus is growing every single day, as we all see, and it's so important to get new fire stations out there, but not only new fire stations, but the fire stations that are getting aged. So with your support on this bond issue, it can help the city of Columbus continue to grow and prosper. The fire department will have a spot in the Real-Time Crime Center, and we're so excited to be a part of this new venture with police. The bond package would not only help with the Real-Time Crime Center, but again, help funding firefighters to help serve the residents of Columbus, but also all the fire trucks and stations, as I mentioned. And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Councilmember Remy. Thank you.
Good morning. Residents around Columbus and Central Ohio are concerned about public safety. The residents of Columbus, all of us, have the right to feel safe in our community. At a time in history where staffing has become one of the greatest challenges we face to fill positions at all levels of public safety, we have to find ways to combat that by looking at other alternatives. As a city, we have to explore every option available to us and assure we provide our workforce with the best resources available to do their jobs and maintain peak performance. That's why voted bond issues 14 through 18 are so critical, and specifically, issue 14 will allow us, the entire Columbus community, to deliver our public safety and emergency services workforce the tools needed to improve response times, work collaboratively with other public safety jurisdictions, and access critical records within minutes, even seconds. Investing in technology can be a great equalizer in tackling shortages in personnel. Making sure how we respond is also a tool in ensuring we are operating in the most efficient manner possible. Keeping our men and women of the Division of Police focused on the jobs they do so well, fighting tough crimes that give each of us pause when we hear, read, or experience, even experience in real life, is a strategy our Chief Bryant, has been employing since she arrived a little over a year ago. Since its launch in 2021, in partnership with Columbus Fire Department, in their leadership, the Right Response Unit has been an invaluable tool, which has allowed the city to operate more mindfully when responding to emergency calls and has saved officers hundreds of hours by sending the right, most appropriate teams to residents in need versus an immediate police response. This is why the Real-Time Crime Center is so important. It'll allow operators to quickly find, analyze, share, and act on information received, leading to higher crime prevention and higher solve rates. These benefits include being aware of public safety situations in real time, allowing the city to work proactively and more proficiently, increase productivity through better planning and access to critical information, and again, better collaborations with our other municipalities. Columbus is one of the largest cities in America without a real-time crime center, and that's about to change. As we stand here in this North Linden neighborhood, where for decades city workers have been a mainstay, I am so pleased to know with your vote, we are investing in neighborhoods particularly to keep this site operating with a presence right here in North Linden. The site of men, women, and people right here in North Linden, within the Public Safety Department driving throughout this neighborhood, will be a welcome one. We are working to uplift all neighborhoods within Columbus, so having the investment here will be, again, another shot in the arm. In closing, I want to thank Mayor Ginther, Director Clark, Chiefs Bryant and Happ, and all of those who have invested in getting our city the best resources, and most importantly, to you, the residents of Columbus, for your ongoing support of our public safety personnel. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. I'll now turn it back over to Mayor Ginther.
Thank you, Councilmember Remy, and thank you to your colleagues on City Council. Mayors can propose whatever they want, but the legislative branch is why we have this package on the ballot and why we're able to continue investing in neighborhoods across the city. It takes all of us working together to build the very best for our future. I do want to recognize, in addition to Director Clark, our technology director, Sam Orth, and his team. We wouldn't be here today and being contemplating the city's first ever real-time crime center without Sam and his team's leadership, so I want to acknowledge them. I'm excited about this bond package. The impact it's going to have on our residents and the impact it's going to have on our neighborhoods. But we need our neighbors to show up this election season. Election day is Tuesday, November 8th, and early voting is underway right now at the Franklin County Board of Elections. Visit the Franklin County Board of Elections website for upcoming deadlines and to confirm your polling location. Your vote is your voice, and the people of Columbus need to be heard. What we do now will determine the trajectory of our city for decades to come. This bond package makes possible the investments we need to scale new heights of excellence and impact. By casting your vote in this election, we will take this journey together. We'd be happy to take any questions from the press about today's announcement, and I'll ask our speakers to stick around if you want to ask questions about anything else under the sun. Any questions about the safety bond issue 14?
Yeah, how critical is the bond when it comes to creating the real-time crime center? I know it was announced a while ago, but how critical is it to actually make it possible and have it be here?
Well, I'll let Director Clark speak to that. Absolutely critical, because without these bond issues being approved, it'll force us to look at other options that may be more expensive and more costly to taxpayers. With these issues being approved, having voter-approved debt is much cheaper to taxpayers than having it issued by council, and much more attractive out in the marketplace. And so this has been our practice. The city has not increased property taxes since 1956. I think Mr. Dorian, maybe in his rookie year, our former auditor, created the SIT, where we take a quarter of every dollar in income tax revenue, put it into the special income tax fund, and use that for debt service to allow us to continue to have very robust capital programs and capital projects. But we have to go to the public every 3 to 4 years for that voted authority to issue that debt when we have the money available to invest in capital projects. Director Clark, you want to speak to that anymore?
Sure, Mayor. Thank you. Well, the one thing I can share with you, and I know Director Orth will support me in this, is technology is not cheap. I would share with you that our women and men in public safety deserve the very best that we can give them. The phenomenal job that they are doing, they deserve the best resources available. And the technology piece of it is very critical. The speed, the storage, the technology. We're in a process right now of assessing a wide variety of vendors that will come and help support the building of the Real-Time Crime Center, consultants who are going to come and help us, who have already established best practices across the country in Real-Time Crime Center. So we feel very confident that as we begin to really socialize this concept to the community, they will certainly help and support and buy in to the fact that we are trying to provide the very best to our women and men who are protecting us and serving us every single day. And yes, with that will come a price tag, but we're strategizing for that as well.
I have another question. We talked a lot about fire and police, but a big chunk of the money is going towards the Franklin County Municipal Court building. Can you give a couple more details on why that's the big chunk there?
Well, if you've spent any time at the current municipal court building, you'll know why this is such a high priority. And because it is part of our larger comprehensive safety strategy. Yes, prevention, intervention, but also enforcement. And having a functional municipal court system for law enforcement, for first responders to be engaged and work with the courts when necessary to hold people accountable is very important. The municipal court is really kind of the people's court. It is where you have, far more folks interacting, coming in and out of the court system there. And we think it's really important since it is the busiest court in the state, and this is now the largest city in the state by far, that we have a court building and system that reflects that.
About the differences between what the Real-Time Crime Center will bring versus existing infrastructure in Columbus. Can you talk about existing infrastructure within the police department versus what new things this will bring?
Yeah, and I'll let directors, maybe Orth and Clark, speak to this as well. Question is about, existing infrastructure, intelligence, technology, resources we have now, and the difference between that and what the Real-Time Crime Center will bring. They know far more about this and can speak to a whole level of detail. The bottom line is there are lots of different systems, cameras, neighborhood safety cameras, all different types of systems that we have in place. They aren't necessarily all tapped into the same place for our ability to use them to help inform how we can fight, intervene, reduce crime, but also potentially prevent other crimes from taking place in neighborhoods throughout the city. And that's really what this Real-Time Crime Center is going to help us do, is use all the existing resources that we have in information and technology and detail, and be able to truly use that to analyze it, to better fight crime and make our communities safer. But Directors Orth, Clark?
Thank you, Mayor. You've heard a couple times the starting point for real-time crime monitoring is systems that we already have, and the city's made quite a few historical investments in technology over the last decade and during the mayor's administration. As you know, we started with body-worn cameras back in 2016. But beyond our investments in body-worn cameras, there's also been investments in neighborhood safety cameras and also data systems. So we heard a lot of emphasis here today around collaboration and the importance of data in both predicting and solving crime. So in addition to that is the data storage that we need. So when we look to our first body-worn camera program, the city made investments in our data centers and critical infrastructure for storing all this information. And as part of the body-worn camera 2 adoption, the new Axon system, we've also secured storage in the what's known as the commercial cloud. So we're starting with those assets, and we're starting at looking at how we can combine those systems together with some other systems in the city, our data management platform, and our analytics tools to really start prototyping real-time crime monitoring in the next year. Thank you.
And the only thing that I would add to that is whatever technology we put in place, we're going to have specialized, trained personnel that will work with that technology and that intelligence and helping us to integrate a variety of systems that exist across the city. For example, we talked a lot in the summertime about cameras in the parks and the program that's now being developed in recreation and parks under Director Reese. So integrating all of that information into one system that becomes actionable for all of our public safety personnel will be very, very critical. And again, it's going to take a partnership, as Director Orth said.
Mayor, sorry, one more question. I know staff shortages obviously are impacting everybody, but will this require hiring new folks to the division? How many employers might be working here?
Yeah, I think Councilmember Remy spoke a little bit about this. We think this is going to really help us as we continue to make historic investments in personnel for police and fire. We made our largest investment this past year in bringing more police officers and firefighters into the community. Surprise, surprise, I'm going to be announcing my safety budget, I think next week or week after. It's going to look a lot like this year's investment, and we're going to have to invest that way in the next couple of years to make sure we have enough police officers and firefighters to serve a growing city. But specific to the Real-Time Crime Center, we will have to hire and train folks, as Director Clark just mentioned. It's one thing to have all the technology, but you got to have people, skilled people that are trained to use all the different types of technology to help inform our approach to making our community safer. So, Director, do you have an idea of how many folks that we'd be looking at hiring and how that staffing process would take place?
So I think the most qualified person to talk about the number of staff would be Chief Bryant, and because we've been to the Detroit Real-Time Crime Center, and it's my understanding that they facilitate that Real-Time Crime Center with 65 personnel per shift. So we're looking at a model like that because obviously we want a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation to be able to help our public safety personnel out on the streets. So we're still in the process of assessing that. That's why we'll be working with consultants. Once we have an opportunity to really set the footprint in the Real-Time Crime Center, as well as understand the problems we're trying to solve, the gaps we're trying to fill, then that's obviously going to drive the number of personnel that we will need. But again, we have a great model in the Detroit Police Department, and as I've shared with you, they run approximately 65 personnel per shift.
I would just add that the beauty of a crime center like this is that a lot of those personnel do not have to be sworn. So we will be employing a lot of non-sworn personnel that are specific to what Director Clark talked about and having that specialty and that skill set. So it won't necessarily be all sworn personnel. So we'll be able to offset that with a lot of non-sworn personnel and crime analysts and crime intelligence agents. So that will help us be able to do and achieve what we're trying to do without taking officers off the streets.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions from the press? We'll stick around for a few minutes if you guys have questions. Thanks for being here.